What is up, my fellow Tarhans? I'm Captain Beans, and welcome to HighFleet Builds, where today we're gonna take a look at some of the bigger ships that the Beans Navy has to offer. I'll give you guys a brief overview of the ships that are going to be featured in this video. I'll put each of these ships to the combat test against some large ships, and I'll also test them against something else which I'll mention later on in the video. But we'll see how that goes. The first ship that we have right here is the ASKOLD, designed by a guy called Albaniec iz Real. I'm not going to mention their full name because of anonymity reasons. But basically this ship right here, as you can see by these quite large fuel tanks, it has definitely been inspired by the original Sevastopol, the original flagship of HighFleet. And from what I can see here, this ship actually has pretty impressive armament. Let's take a look here. We have a couple of these 180mm Shkval cannons. Very nice guns. We also have a bunch of these A220 MRLS systems. These are quite effective whenever you have a bunch of these on your ship. And also we do have some 2A37 37mm CWIS systems, although I can only see 4 of these turrets on this ship. I'm guessing as its main defense against missiles, it'll have to use these R9 Sprint missiles along with the fire control radar right here. My only critique about these R5 Zenith missiles is probably the placement of these missiles right here. One thing you should realize is that whenever you're in tactical combat, the enemy typically likes to shoot at the center of mass of your ship. The center of mass of this ship is actually located right here. These missile silos are sort of close to the center of mass, and that means if any stray bullets or artillery shells were to enter into the silos right here, it would be able to reach the fuel tanks quite easily and set the ship on fire. So the only thing I would probably do with these missiles is probably just shift them a little bit to maybe either the fore or the aft of the ship, but just a little bit, not too much. But otherwise, this ship is actually quite formidable. As you can see here, the ship has quite a lot of armor on pretty much all sides of this ship. The only weaknesses I can see on this ship are the thrusters right here, down below, right here as well. And there are some small cracks here and there inside of the armor in order to let electricity pass through to some of the components here, including the sprints right here, E-lint, another E-lint right here, and also on the radar tower right here. It's a very small crack, but if anything gets here, then it would be able to reach the bridge. In terms of strategic capability, this thing has radar. It has a fire control radar, which is good for using these R9 Sprint missiles. E-lint is quite interesting because the designer put E-lint on either sides of this ship, which I guess in terms of priority I can understand that, because E-lint is not really too useful if the enemy is right on top of your head. We also do have a thermal sensor right here, which is partially blocked. But do we have another thermal sensor? No, we don't. That means the ship only has 150 kilometer range of IRST, as opposed to 300 if this thing wasn't fully blocked. One thing I've also noticed is the armored magazine right here, which is quite a good design choice because this area of the ship is quite prone to getting hit by cruise missiles, and having an extra armor layer could potentially protect it from cruise missiles, and also maybe tactical combat as well. And the same thing applies to the forecastle right here. But all in all, I think the ASKOLD right here is quite a capable flagship of fighting and maybe even stopping enemy cruise missiles. But in order to really test that, let's head into tactical combat with this thing. Let's go! Alright, so over here we have a bit of a selection of some large ships that you typically see in a strike group. Let's see how the ASKOLD holds up. Let's go, bitches! They're already shooting missiles at me. Here's one thing about this ship. Whenever you try to shoot the Sea-Whiz, it also shoots 180mm guns. I don't like that, because I'd honestly prefer for the artillery and Sea-Whiz to fire separately. That way you can focus your artillery on the ships, and the Sea-Whiz on the missiles. But otherwise, it seems to be killing ships. I guess it's work. Here are the new ships. Okay. Cormoran, sorry, Nigev. Please die. Same goes for the Nomad. Can you please shut your 180mm ass up and please listen to this A220 rockets flying at you? That would be great. If you try to shoot all of your guns at the same time, it actually does quite a decent number on these enemies. Although the Nomad is not dead yet, for some reason, despite the artillery that I'm shooting at it. I guess I'm also missing, that could be another reason. Okay, finally the first Nomad is down. Alright, come on. You guys, just... The enemy has been destroyed. Huh. Maybe this ship was designed for all of the guns to be fired at the exact same time. I guess that could be a legit tactic. Before the enemy manages to shoot at you. The enemy has been destroyed. I see what the creator wanted to do. He wanted to make a ship that kills enemy ships so quickly that they don't even get to fire at you. Which I guess that's a good tactic, but I don't think it's always effective though, because sometimes you might be in a situation where the enemy shoots first and you don't have a chance to shoot at them first. Also, one thing I noticed is that at certain angles, the ship will not intercept Zenith missiles. Okay. Oh, this other Nomad is almost dead. Let's just keep firing the rockets at him. Damn, look at these fireworks that the rockets are making. It's... Mwah. Honestly, I kinda miss using MRLS though. Alright, so here is the ASKOLD, and as you can see, the ship has survived the combat test, almost unscathed. And I think that the ship is work. So, okay, let's start with the positives about this ship. The ship is actually very formidable in terms of armament. It has actually a good variety of calibers. It does have 37mm Sea-Whiz in order to stop missiles and also enemy artillery. It has 180 artillery, which is good for killing ships, and I guess if you arm it with proximity fuses, could be used against cruise missiles too. And thirdly, we also have the 220 MRLS rocket launchers, which are, as you saw, quite amazing at killing other ships. My only critique about this configuration of armament is the fact that the 180mm guns and 37mm guns fire at the same time with the, I believe, the left click of the mouse, which I'm not gonna blame the creator for doing this. This is just kind of a HighFleet vanilla thing. You can't exactly choose which mouse button controls which guns that you fire. Me personally, what I would have done is I would have either had the 180mm or the A220 and 37mm CWIS, because that way I would use the CWIS separately to fire at missiles and stuff like that, and the artillery, of course, to shoot at enemy ships. In terms of just generally weaknesses and stuff like that, the ship does have quite a few weaknesses. Luckily, we didn't get damaged a whole lot. I mean, the bow of the ship definitely got a little bit scarred, and the top of the ship is also a little bit damaged, but otherwise I think it's okay. The fact that we managed to kill the enemies so quickly is probably one of the reasons why we even survived. Now that was the tactical combat test of the ASKOLD. I'd like to also test it out against something else which I have planned for this video. And in order to do that, let's head over to Gerat real quick. I'll see you guys there. Alright everyone, welcome to Gerat, where right here we are going to test the ASKOLD against just a couple of cruise missiles. And don't worry about that symbol right there, it doesn't mean anything. You know what? Let's just launch a couple of them at the ASKOLD. This is going to be a landed test, because I believe that it is better to test it against a ship that is landed, because it has less of a chance of intercepting the missile. Piotr, don't worry, it's not nuclear weapon, it's okay, it's work. Oh, what's that? Did I just start a nuclear war? Guys, don't be silly, bro. I'm just launching a couple of test missiles against one of our own ships. It's okay, it's fine. But if we take a look at the damage here, the first missile didn't actually do so much damage, just some superficial damage. You know what? Let's do a couple more missiles and we'll see how it does. Okay, the second missile stripped off a bunch of armor from the stern of the ship. I think that the third missile is going to be fatal. Oh my god. Okay, the third missile was not fatal, but damn near fatal. Look, the upper stern of the ship is just gone. Gone. And also look at the bridge right here. It is so exposed and so damaged. It's crazy. I think the fourth missile is going to be deadly. Or fatal, sorry. Well, okay, that other missile basically targeted the bow of the ASKOLD, and as you can see here, now the armor from above the ship is just completely gone. Okay, you know what? Let's launch a couple more missiles and see if this thing either dies or survives. Missile away. Okay, so this right here means that the fifth missile was indeed fatal. Okay, so that was the cruise missile test. The ASKOLD right there could survive up to 5 completely conventional nuclear missiles. And some people might say that this is a torture test, or all of these other fancy words that you guys Westerners use all the time. But you know what? With that, let's move on to the next ship on the docket. I'll see you guys at the shipworks. Welcome back to the shipworks, where I present to you guys right here Gradec the First, designed by a guy who has a nuke. Yes, that is his full identity. He has a nuke. And if you guys don't want to look at the ship, here are the stats for it. But if you guys don't want to look at the stats of the ship, here is the ship right here, which, as you can tell by the overall design of this ship, it is loosely inspired by the Sevastopol. As you can tell by these absolute chonkers of these fuel tanks. Okay, now in terms of armament, this thing has 4 of these 180mm Schwal turrets. Good design choice, I like that. This ship also has a very healthy dose of 37mm Sea-Whiz cannons, which I presume the designer put here in order to stop enemy cruise missiles. Here at the bottom of the ship, we also do have an entire rack of R5 Zenith missiles, which I presume are meant to be used against smaller ships, or even large ships, but just more armored, and as additional armament. Up aloft right here, we do have R9 Sprint missiles, which are good against defending enemy cruise missiles, and also maybe even tactical missiles in close combat. Now, aside from all of the tactical armament, we do have a bunch of strategic missiles placed here at the stern and the bow. And also, if you take a look here, the missiles that are placed in this ship are... now, these missiles right here, I like these types of missiles. These missile types are good. Not like all of the other conventional missile, high explosive warhead. Nah, fuck off with your high explosive warhead. There is no nuclear option in the Beans Navy. This is the norm. But anyway, aside from that, the ship otherwise is quite a good flagship. As you can see here, in terms of radar capability, there is a radar, some ELINT, some fire control radar, some IRST, or thermal search and track systems, right here on either side of the ship. Nothing much I can say about the sensor capability. It's doing a decent enough job. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long it took for the designer to come up with this ship design, but from what I can tell, they probably didn't take into account the bridge placement right here. I don't know. But it just seems to me that this is a pretty sketchy place to put a bridge, especially knowing that the only thing that's protecting it is this ballast system and just a couple of armor plates. One thing I will give credit for is putting armor below the missile silos, because indeed it is nice to have these areas at least protected. Same goes for the stern right here. You did a great job putting the armor below the missiles to protect the thrusters and stuff like that. But you know what? All in all, I think this ship might be formidable, despite the price and the weaknesses of this ship, and also the fact that it kind of looks like someone new has designed this ship. But you know what? In order to really test its capability, let's put it to the test against some combat. Alright, so here we're gonna do a similar test that we did before. Here we have a bunch of large ships. Let's go. Alright, let's go. Okay, let's see how the Sea-Whiz holds up. Whoa. Nah, the Sea-Whiz is kind of insane. Wait, did I just kill an enemy ship? Huh. That is interesting. Holy damn, look at this. The amount of seaways that this ship has, it's insane. I think some designers could learn from the experience of this ship right here. Also, the Shkval guns are doing quite great too. Okay, okay, we are being blasted by a bit of 180mm proximity fuses because we do have a bit of ballast on this ship, aside from the armor. I think we just killed a bunch of ships. I don't know. I lost count. Okay, here is the Varag. Let's see if we can destroy this guy as quickly as we can. Oh my god, the frame drops. It's insane. Okay. Come on, shoot! Один, два, пли! Come on, Variag, die! So let's get rid of these missiles right here with the Seaways. Okay, our bow is taking a little bit of damage. Let's see if we could destroy this with a couple of missiles. Okay, the Variag is down. Now let's finish off the rest with the artillery and stuff like that. I just missed half of the volley. One thing I like about this ship is the fact that because it has so much seaways, I can block out enemy artillery quite well. Even though we did have to take some of the damage to the bow of the ship, but otherwise this ship is holding up quite great. Now these guys don't have a chance against Gradets the First. It's okay, we didn't lose engine, it's okay. This will work. Okay, I think this is the last ship that's remaining from this battle. Oh no, it's not. We do have another Nomad, and I think a Negev or a Cormoran. I can't really tell. Oh, it's a Negev, okay. Alright. Come on, bitch. Come at me. I mean, just look at these fireworks right here. Now that is what I call a battle. Oh. My god. I think I can kill these guys with just the Seaways alone. I mean, look. Okay, maybe not. Maybe Seaways doesn't actually penetrate armor. Well, that's why we have 180mm. Okay, come on. Cormoran? I think you're the last one. Cormoran! Die! Зарядить пушки! Пли! Oh shit! I think we just got ammo racked. Okay, we might want to maneuver a little bit. Okay, our ship is tilting. Our ship is listing. Okay. The enemy has been destroyed. Tango down. Okay, can you please stabilize? Also, let's launch a couple of Zenith missiles. Okay, let's finish him off. Nice! His work! Alright, so damage reports. The Gradets the First took quite a lot of damage to the bow of the ship and also some to the tower of the ship where the bridge is, but otherwise the ship lasted the battle and actually just completely wrecked all of the enemies. And so, what do I think of this ship? Isvork. It is definitely a formidable opponent in tactical combat because of the sea whiz and also the artillery. You know what? Let's go test this thing against missiles. I'll see you guys in Gerat. Alright, and welcome to Gerat, where right now we are going to test Gradets the First against a couple of completely conventional nuclear missiles. Okay, so let's just launch a bunch of them at the ship. Okay, so damage assessment. First missile definitely shaved off a bit of the armor from the stern. Maybe a little bit from the bow as well. Some of the missile silos have been destroyed. And I'm assuming some of the missiles on this ship have been destroyed as well. Okay, let's see how this holds up against a bunch more. Okay, not too much damage from that second missile, and that's because I managed to stop it with some sprint missiles, and it detonated a little bit further away from the ship. Let's see if we can just intercept this with Sea Whiz and sprints even more. Oh, okay. It seems like 3 missiles was enough to stop this thing. Alright, that was the missile test for Gradets the First. I think the main reason why this thing didn't survive so much is because of the bridge placement. If the designer would have put the bridge slightly deeper into the ship, this thing would have had a better chance of surviving. But in terms of anti-missile systems, this thing could have definitely survived a lot more missiles if this thing was in the air and also using its sprints fully on at least the first 3 missiles. I think this will have to conclude the test and also this ship. I'll see you guys in the shipworks for the 3rd ship. Alright, welcome back to the shipworks where I present to you this thing. Honestly, I don't even... Bro. Boom boom. Boom boom a little bit. But here is VVC 1000F. I think that's what it's called. But this thing was designed by a guy called Vitaz. Or I think it's Vitez. I'm not sure. Here are the stats for this ship. I feel like the stats on this ship are actually better than the other 2 that I showed before. From what I can see here from these interestingly placed fuel tanks up aloft here, is that this ship is primarily designed as a way to carry fuel and also give range to the other ships in its fleet. I'm gonna assume that this is also meant to be a flagship for a campaign. And as far as I'm aware, this ship was designed in 1.15, so there might be a couple of things about this ship that don't really work in the newest version. Now let's start from the very top of this ship, where, as you can see here, there is quite a lot of fuel tanks right here. And it's quite an interesting choice to put fuel tanks outside of your ship as opposed to inside of your ship. And I guess that could work, but if you're ever going to get into any sort of combat, you're going to be hearing this a lot. But I guess to compensate for the amount of fuel fires that could happen, the designer did put a whole bunch of fire suppression systems right here. That's all of these green things right there. And the only sort of protection that these upper fuel tanks have are a bunch of these APS Palash systems, which it's good against artillery, but it's not good against 57mm and 37mm Seaways. But otherwise, this ship, I guess, could at least take a few artillery hits. And now below these upper fuel tanks, as you can see here, the top of this hull, I guess, of the ship is made out of these flight decks. And I think the reason why they put flight decks as opposed to regular armor is because, first of all, it's light, meaning there's not going to be a whole bunch of weight on the ship, so there's going to be lower thrust needed, and so lower consumption and stuff like that. Also, you don't really need to put too much armor at the top of the ship, because, I mean, look, the fuel tanks is the armor. But also the second reason why the designer probably put flight decks up here is because flight decks are resistant to nuclear blasts, as we're probably going to see in the second test, after the combat test. It is actually a good thing that they put the bridge slightly below. It makes this ship slightly more resistant to airstrikes, and I think the bridge is also better placed against stuff like artillery and stuff like that. Even though I am also seeing quite a lot of weak points on this ship as well. In terms of armament, this thing has little to no armament. The only sort of self-defense that it has are 4 of these 2A37 37mm Seaways. And that's about it. That's the only sort of guns that this ship has. And I don't think that that is necessarily bad. I see this ship as a very strategical asset in order to provide fuel for the rest of the fleet, and also as sort of a sturdy headquarters for the flagship. And also, this ship is not as large as the other ships that we've featured here, and also because it doesn't have a lot of armament and it's not so large, its price is actually below that of the Sevastopol. Other than that, I think that's about it from what I can say about this ship. Very unconventional design, but I like it. I think I like it because of how unconventional it is. But I think now is a good time to test it against some combat. Alright, so here are a couple of large ships. Now the reason I'm not going to put this through such a harsh test is because of the really small amount of armament that this ship has. And really, ideally, in an actual campaign, I would actually try to run away with this ship. But let's see if having exposed fuel tanks does anything to this ship. Alright, let's go, bitches! Alright, let's see if we can kill the ships using the 37mm guns. But I'm gonna try not to stick around too much. Maybe if things do get too bad, we are going to have to escape the battle. Because again, I wouldn't want this thing to stay in combat whatsoever. I just want to flee with it and get away from the strike group in an actual campaign. That's probably the way that the designer wanted it to be. Also, here we go. A lot of fuel tanks are being on fire now. There we go. Yep, here we go. Now they're shooting the fuel tanks. Oh no. Our fuel tanks are already being set on fire. Yeah, nah. I mean, only the upper fuel tanks are burning, not the below ones for now, it seems like. Okay, you know what? Let's get away. I think that we've had enough of combat. Let's just maybe see if we can launch another salvo. Okay, I think we're losing... Okay, I think we're starting to lose our fire suppression system a little bit. So our fuel is burning quite a bit. I think I'll leave it as inconclusive because, I mean, even putting this ship into combat is not really entirely fair because it doesn't have a good enough armament for tactical combat aside from the Seaways. It is certainly good at stopping R5 Zenith missiles, and judging by that, I think it would also be fairly effective at stopping regular cruise missiles. But you know what? I want to see if the flight decks on this ship are good enough for the next test. Welcome back, guys, to Gerat, where on top of the corpses of the previous ships, I am going to test the this ship. What is it called again? VVC 1000F. Okay, I'm gonna test this ship against a bunch of completely conventional nuclear missiles. And you know what? Let's just go. Okay, so first missile, it definitely did a little bit of damage on the starboard side of the ship. The flight decks are actually holding up pretty well. The flight decks are resistant to nuclear blast, so one thing I want to see is how long this thing could survive. It also only has CWIS as anti-air defense, so I'll try to intercept those as best as I can. Okay, the starboard side is definitely getting damaged quite a bit, but this thing is still alive. And also, the bridge is located on the bottom of this ship right here. So even though this thing might get damaged quite a lot, the bridge will be fine. Because it is on the bottom side of the ship, it should be resistant to airstrikes and also missile strikes. Also, the flight decks, again, are holding up quite well. Okay, now the flight decks are starting to get a little bit damaged. The upper fuel tanks are gone. They're just gone. And also the starboard side of the ship is just gone. Oh, damn. Look at this thing. Okay, now the flight decks are completely gone. So I think launching a couple more missiles is definitely going to kill it. Oh, damn. There is not a lot of this ship left. Okay, let's just say these two are the only fuel tanks that are keeping this thing even alive. I'm pretty sure after this missile, it's dead. Oh my god. So, you know what? Let's launch all of the missiles that I still have. Okay, so that concludes the missile test, and now that ship right there took 7 missiles before it fully went down. And again, I think that is because of the bridge placement, but also because from at least some of the first missiles, the flight decks actually did a great job of reducing some of the damage done to the actual ship. And in terms of this ship overall, I think that this ship is a very good strategic flagship whose main purpose is carrying fuel for the fleet and also being able to survive tactical combat somewhat and also being able to survive some strategical assets somewhat. I think that this ship does get a lot of points for its strategical value, not so much for its tactical ability to kill other ships. But otherwise, I think this ship is work. And you know what? Let's get back to the shipworks. Welcome back to the shipworks, where I just wanted to say that is going to be it for this one. I hope you guys have enjoyed these ships that I've just shown to you right now, and I hope you guys are looking forward to more. If you guys want your ships to be featured in another video like this one, be sure to join the Beans Navy Discord server. The link for that will be in the description below, and I will try to feature all of them. And other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.